Carol says, is everyone else hearing sound?
I am.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Great. Sound and light, we got it all? All right, take a moment to just settle yourself, ground yourself. Feel your feet on the floor and just check in with your body today. Is your weight even on both feet, or do you feel heavier on one foot than the other? Just notice what's happening there. And then take a deep breath and notice where the breath moves in and out of your body. And then go ahead and just feel your rib cage. And you can move it around a little bit and notice the bell of your rib cage and where it is. And then your hips, and you can kind of move them around. Do some circles like Merrick was doing. Just have a sense of where they are in space, where there might be some tightness, and then just mute you all. And then start with shoulder rolls. So feet pointed straight ahead. And shoulder rolls are about shoulder function, but they're also about thoracic extension. So as you take your shoulder blades back and around, see if you can use your shoulder blades to move your spine, that top part of your spine. So up all the way, lifting the shoulder blades up, levator scapula, upper trap, into your middle back, squeezing your shoulder blades together, retracting your shoulder blades, and then coming down, protracting the shoulder blades. That means the serratus, this muscle on the side, has to work, and your pec, the front muscle, pulls it forward, and then up and back and around. Again, moving through your entire spine. And reverse, back and up and around. And backwards one more time, up and back. Once again, moving through your spine. Let's see if you can get it to move all the way to the top of your pelvis so that it articulates kind of like a dog pose from that standing posture. Nice. Now relax your belly, fold your fingers to your palms, bring your hands to your temples, thumbs pointing down, elbows all the way together so they touch, and just hold it there. Take a deep full breath. And let the shoulder blades come off your back so that your back gets more round. So you're actually letting the upper rounding of your spine, upper thoracic back, increase. Shoulder blades moving off your back. And then open them up again. Feet straight. Good. All the way together, all the way back. and release. And then arm circles. Fold your fingers. Actually, we're going to do wrist circles first. Fold your fingers into your palms. Bring your arms down by your sides. Then bring your arms out. Then turn your hands down and do a huge circle up and down and up. And then stretch your fingers. I'm going to use this from my brother's girlfriend. Fold pinky finger down all the way to thumb, and then full wrist down, rotate them forward and up and around. A couple of times. And then this time, grip, or go pinky all the way, fold your thumb in, and then down like you're dumping out a water pitcher all the way to the last drop and up and around. And just turn your whole arm up so you're rotating in the shoulder, wrist, and up. Good. Now let's take it into one more shoulder. Imagine you have cups on your hand, and you're going to bring those cups and spiral them up, and then spiral them down. Spiral them up, spiral them down. You can cross them, bring them over your head, and down, serve them behind you. Don't drop those cups. Good. And then go back to shoulder squeeze. Squeeze and release. And just notice if you have both sides being able to squeeze evenly. If you have a hip that's rotated or stuck, then often the compensation shows up in the shoulder and we don't have the right movement of the shoulder blade. Sometimes that can make it so there feels like there's impingement in the arm bone or in the shoulder, but really it's the scapula glide, and maybe the scapula glide is affected because the hip is out of alignment. Squeeze and release. So just in case that's true, we're going to go to those hips. So turn your feet out and find your butt muscles. Squeeze and release your glute.
I can't hear you. Oh, never mind. Found it.
Can you, move the volume up on yours? I can see if I can move the volume up on mine, but I don't know that it matters.
I found it. Thank you.
Okay. Yep. Okay, so feet turned out, find your glutes. Squeeze your butt like you're trying to crack a walnut with your butt cheeks. Tighten and release. We're going to do 20 squeezes right there. Squeeze and release. So if you had a hip that turned in, a medial femur, a femur that went this direction, then usually you don't have great access to your butt muscles. And sometimes this muscle, I've talked about this before, the tensor fasciae lata that comes in like this gets too tight. So we're going to go after that a little bit by finding your glutes. So just squeeze and release. And we'll let these front hip muscles open up a little bit. Squeeze the walnut, crush the walnut with your butt cheeks. Get both sides to really activate. Also, if you were anteriorly tilted this way, you may not have great access to those muscles that squeeze down and in either, that would neutralize your pelvis because of this tip. So the glutes would be long in that position. So finding them, go back to feet straight position and go back to those glutes. See if you can still find it, squeeze and crush that walnut. tighten, release, about 20 of those. And it should pull your thighs out, but try not to use your thigh muscles right now. Squeeze those glutes and release. Squeeze, release. And maybe you feel a shoulder opening up more if you had one side that was more forward than the other. Maybe that's beginning to come out. And really feel it. What's happening? Is it getting more even? If you were tipped really far forward, does it feel like you're pulling your butt underneath you a little bit? If you started tipped backward, then maybe coming more to that neutral position is better. Find that place, squeeze, release. Excellent. Now grab your block and come to kneeling. We're going to stay with these glute muscles. Pick your block and put it between your ankles. And then line up your load joints again. So ears over shoulders, over hips, over knees. Relaxing. And then squeeze your big toes and your heels. Your big toes go against it in case you're a little bit duck-footed. And your heels go against it to get that glute to come out. We're lengthening two joint hip muscles, so it may be a little bit more difficult to stay in a neutral pelvic position here because of the pull that exists on the front of your thighs. But hang in there. See if you can find those same hip muscles. Squeeze against the block, release. Squeeze, release. Is it getting more even? Big toes and heels. Excellent. And then come down onto your belly. Put the block between your ankles again. So this time we're horizontally loaded. The block goes between your ankles, and then completely relax your upper body. Shoulders relaxing, big breath. The floor holding your rib cage stable and your shoulders. And then once again, squeeze and release in on that block, big toes and heels, till you feel the deep muscles in your butt contract. Pulling that femur around, press, release, press, release 20 times. And then roll onto your back. place the block between your knees. And then squeeze and release the block with the inside of your legs. Squeeze and release 20 times. Shoulders completely relaxing on the floor. Hug that block, release. Squeeze, release. And release your block. Come down onto your back. And then just find your butt muscles here. So arms out to the sides. Again, like you're crushing a walnut. And if your pelvis tips back just a little bit, that's okay. Once you've found those glutes, squeezing the butt muscles towards each other, then see if you can also relax your belly. So squeeze in and release. Squeeze in, release. So it's just glutes working to activate that position. Little bit of a sit bones towards your tailbone. Squeeze, release. Squeeze, release. Finding muscles at the base of your pelvis. Excellent. And then hands behind your head, elbows back. Let's go elbows curled. A little chin nod like you're saying yes. Begin to curl your upper body up off the floor, finding some abdominal muscles. Get to the base of your shoulder blades. And then even here, a little bit of that glute squeeze. And then roll it down. Exhale, come up. Squeeze. Find those upper abdominal muscles, little glute squeeze at the base. So you've got a little bit of a rounded spine happening right now. And then roll it down. Good. Lift those upper abdominals up to the top of your shoulder blades. Find those butt muscles at the base of your pelvis, little glute squeeze. Find an even flexion position in your body and roll it down. Up. Squeeze, glute squeeze, and roll it down. Neutral. And little squeeze, lift, roll it down, release. Little squeeze, lift, roll it down, release. And one more time, little glute squeeze, roll it up, hold, and roll it down. Excellent. Drop both legs out straight. Now, if you were tipped a little forward in your pelvis, or you had one side that was going a little more forward than the other, hopefully we just brought that to slightly more level. Now, arms by your sides, legs out, opposite arm, opposite leg, cross crawling, taking it all the way up, and then set it down, all the way up, set it down. Making that opposite hand and opposite knee work together. Lift and lower. If you want a little more, then switch at the top. Your pelvis is being held stable by the floor. There's no rotation that happens, so we're retraining gait here. keeping shoulder girdle and pelvic girdle stable while the legs get to move into this gait pattern. Keep going. And release. Let your left leg go out on the floor. Pull your toes back, tighten your thigh. Femur rotation, so from the hip, make that leg go out and in. Finding the deep six, those deep rotator muscles, all the way out, all the way in 10 times. Arms out to the side, shoulders relaxing. Just hip. Switch sides. Out and in. First side again. Out and in like a windshield wiper from the hip. Trying to set the pinky toes down on the floor, bring it all the way in, all the way out. And switch. 10 more. Out and in. Pinky toe side, big toe side. Finding the muscles in the deep in the butt to rotate that leg out, and then inside and outside of your leg to pull that leg in. Excellent. Bringing that right leg in, stretching that left leg out. Pull your shoulders down and back. 20 split circles all the way around. So we've done hip work so far. Now we're going to bring the lower leg into the hip. That left leg extending straight out on the floor, that right knee pulling in. Reverse. And point and flex. Switch sides. Start your circles. Right leg steady on the floor, left leg pulled in toward your chest, shoulders gently down and back. Reverse. and point and flex. Excellent. Onto your hands and knees, round and arch your back. Cats and dogs. Hands directly below your shoulders. Take it all the way up. Find that little glute squeeze at the top. Round all the way. Feel your belly. Push your shoulder blades off your back so that they're protracted. And then come down. Squeeze your shoulder blades toward your spine. Retract the shoulder blades. Let them move together. And then all the way up again. Round, squeeze. Open that space. Coming down. Lift. Round. And up. And then hold it here, just stable, and make your shoulder blades come up and down, just your shoulder blade movement. So you're just retracting and protracting the scapulas all the way up and then sink them all the way down. So just feel that scapula glide and notice if one glides more easily than the other. Down and up. So you're like threading your shoulders. And then go ahead and sink them down and then go into chest openers. So you're going to move the arm bone so the elbow points out, but the shoulder doesn't move. So keep the shoulders stable and just twist the arm bone. This is a closed kinetic chain exercise. So see if you can get the arm bone to rotate without the shoulder blade moving up toward your ears. So keep them kind of down and back. And then just arm bone rotations. Sometimes we can get part of your middle back to change if that's a place that is a difficult spot to get to move. Excellent. Coming up, bringing your left leg forward, coming into a kneeling groin stretch. Make sure that your left leg is far enough out so that as you come over it, the knee is still just behind the ankle. Open that space up, shoulder blades down your back, and then lift and press your toes of your front foot down into the floor. Lift and press, and that's going to help turn on the lateral hip and the hamstring and the muscles down here that help position the tibia into the femur. Back leg opening, shoulders down and back, belly relaxed. Just letting your skeleton move into this shape. And switch. Right leg coming forward, left leg going back. Bend into that position. And then find your toes. Lift and press your toes down into the floor. Lift and press. And release out of that. Once again, round and arch your back, cats and dogs. All the way up, all the way down. See if your middle back will let you in a little more now. Then go ahead and have a seat. Hold your right leg in. And then hook your left hand underneath your left leg. And we're going to go up and over. And open up this whole side body. Breathe in to that right side. Feel this shoulder move back toward your spine. Open that space. So stable pelvis, opening quadratus lumborum. Letting your rib cage open. And just if there's any different in the movement of your spine between one side and the other, just let that be. 3 more deep breaths. Fully in, fully out. Fully in, fully out. Legs active, thighs tight. Inhale, come up. Fold the left leg in, bring the right leg out. And hook that right hand underneath. Take that left arm up and over. And breathe into your side body. Lift your rib cage, tighten your thighs. Open up that space. And come on up. And then bring both legs out straight. Cross the right leg over the left. Sit really tall. Take that right hand behind you and come into a sitting floor twist. Twisting your spine. Full breath in. And breathe as that opens up. Coming back to the center. Switch your legs. Folding that left leg over the right, taking the left hand behind you, right arm across. Sit tall and twist. Untwist. Both legs out straight. We're going to do that twist one more time. So extend both legs out straight. Bring your hands just to the top of your shoulders. Sit really tall. And now just find those same oblique muscles and try to twist to the left. I'll go this way. Pushing that right arm forward, pulling that left side back, letting that whole twist happen even more. Keep going. Find those twisting muscles. And inhale back to center. And second side, left side coming forward, right side pulling back. Find those twisters. roll back onto your back. Grab your block and your strap and keep them close. Coming down, feet on the floor, knees bent. Interlace your fingers. Bring your arms over your head. Just go into that upper back one more time. Letting the shoulders move and bring them back up. Pullovers. As your arms go over, the shoulder blades have to do this rotation. They have to come out underneath your armpits a little bit. And back up. And over. And up. And you can feel what's happening in your pelvis. Hopefully it's even on both sides and not too much arch in your low back, as those low back muscles are able to just release. About 5 more pullovers. And if you feel like you can get to the top easily, you could even add a little press into the floor so that there's some strengthening happening around those shoulder blade muscles. Press into the floor, bring them back up, bring them over, a little thumb press into the floor. Increase that thoracic extension and scapular mobility just a little bit more. Maybe that evens out your pelvis just a touch. Back up and over. Okay, now grab your block and your strap. You're going to use your strap and bring it up so that your both legs are inside of that strap, and you're tightening it down so that it's about fist width, and then setting the block between your ankles. Back to that neutral position. And then squeeze in with your toes, so shins in, and then pull thighs out, and then release. Shins in, feet in toward the block, thighs out. That should work deep muscles in your pelvis, and then release. Shins in, thighs out, release. Shins in, thighs out, release. Keep going. Shins in, thighs out, release. Shins in, thighs out, release. Keep going, a few more of those. And then switch. So you're going to bring the strap to your ankles and the block to your knees. And go the other way. Pull out at the ankles, squeeze in with your knees, and find some different hip muscles. Out at the ankles, in with your knees, release. Out, in, release. Double, double, double switch. Excellent. Go ahead and release your block and your strap. And then roll over onto your hands and knees. Come into a downward facing dog pose. Tuck your toes under, pressing up and back. If you need to keep your knees bent to get your butt high up in the air, do it. Press your pointer finger knuckles down into the floor, pressing those sit bones up to the sky, trying to pull your chest down toward the floor. If you can get your back straight, then go ahead and work your legs more straight. Working into the calves and the hamstrings a little more. If as soon as you pushed your legs straight, you felt your back go into that rounded position, then keep your knees bent and work on the length of your spine. And then come into some version of a runner stretch, bringing your right leg forward, tucking your back toes under, and coming up into a full runner stretch, or putting your hands up on your chair or bench, and coming into an assisted runner stretch. You choose where you're at today. Runner stretch is about releasing some of the hamstrings, getting the pelvis to roll over the top of the thigh bone so that this front leg is in deep hip flexion. Find your breath, fully in, fully out. A few more breaths here. And then switch sides. Back knee just behind your front heel. And come on up. Again, on the floor or assisted. Letting that front hip go all the way into flexion, letting your pelvis roll itself forward like you're dumping water out of your belly button, coming forward over your thigh bones. And then come out of that, come all the way up. You may hold a wall if you want. We're going to go into a quad stretch. So find a wall or just balance in space, your choice, and reach back and grab on to a foot or hook your foot up over the back of a chair. And come into a standing quad stretch. Go ahead and tuck your tailbone down a little bit. Pull on the front of that thigh muscle. And switch sides. And check your weight again between your feet. See if that's more even. Hopefully it is. We're going to do an air bench to end today. So find a wall, or at least end our exercise portion. Find a wall, slide down that wall, keep the weight in your heels, and press your low back flat to the wall. You can get almost to 90 or as close to that as you can with those thighs, and turn on those thigh muscles. Again, weight in your heels, low back flat. And hold it. Take 5 more deep breaths while you're here. Really let those thigh muscles work. Low back stays flat, flat, flat to the wall. We're working on low back flat, upper thoracic extension. If you can't get your low back flat with your upper back on there, go ahead and round your back so that that's flat. But if you can get your back flat and your upper body all the way back to that wall, then go for that too. Even see if you could find those butt muscles like you're crushing that walnut. Squeeze those glutes one last time. Help your pelvis gently tuck under. And come on up. Check your weight one more time. Hopefully that feels quite a bit more even, like things are moving, more open, some things let go. And then go ahead and lie down or sit down, find whatever position you want for your short meditation. So come into your comfortable position wherever that is and come back to your breathing. Drop back to the space where everything that you're hearing, seeing, noticing, feeling are just sensations arising that you're witnessing. Notice if a thought arises, can you step back from identifying with that thought and instead just observe the thought? Notice where the thought is coming from. What's the thought about? If you hear something, where is the place that you're hearing from? The moment that you notice that you're lost in the thought or that you are identifying as that thought, come back to your breath. Come back to anything that brings you back to the present moment. And then go ahead and open your eyes. And see if you can just expand your visual field so that you broaden your visual field and you notice that also the things that you're seeing are arising in consciousness. You can look at something and look for who's observing what you're seeing. And then go ahead and close your eyes again. And shift more into your heart center. And just give yourself some love or feel the love in your heart center. Just expand. Really recognize that that love is already there. Just let it expand. It has nothing to do with productivity or anything else. It just exists. And first, recognizing loving kindness toward ourselves allows for that loving kindness to be extended into the world. This loving kindness gets amplified by showing up to this class and to see your friends and to recognize that we're all working on elevating our vibration and aligning our bodies and recognizing when we get pulled into challenging places and then how we can come back to this loving kindness both for ourselves and others. Go ahead and take a few more deep breaths. If you'd like to stay in this deep place, please just turn off your computer. And if you would like a few minutes to catch up and say hello, please gently come around.